The Body of Christopher Creed. The Body of Christopher Creed is a young adult novel by Carol Plum-Ucci. It tells the story of a high school student whose life becomes unraveled when he tries to solve the mystery of a classmate's sudden disappearance. The novel won the Michael L. Printz Honor Book Award. Plot summary. Tori Adams, the narrator, moves to a new town and begins his senior year at Rothbourne, a boarding school. As he starts thinking about how his year will be, he remembers the strange events of his junior year, mainly revolving around his former classmate Christopher Creed. Christopher disappeared without a trace, leaving only an email sent to the principal, which rapidly spread throughout the school and the community. The prelude concludes with Tori sending out an email containing his retelling of the events. In the past, Tori and his friends read the email from Christopher. It hints at the possibility of Christopher either committing suicide or running away. The email references a number of people in town who Christopher admires as guys who have everything, which includes Tori and one of his friends. This makes Tori more concerned about Creed's disappearance and what has become of him. Tori talks about his concerns with his girlfriend Leandra, who brushes them off. At school, Tori begins to feel alienated from his friend Alex. Ollie McDermott, a girl at school who suffers from negative rumors, talks to Tori about Creed and asks him to come over to her house that night as she wants to show him something. At her house, Tori and Ollie watch the Creed family's antics, seeing Mrs. Creed's controlling behavior and her relationship with Christopher's brothers. Tori meets Ollie's boyfriend Beau, who is a boon, a local slang term for the really bad kids who come from the boondocks and is rumored to be a violent criminal, but who actually turns out to be a caring and protective soul, despite his tough guy demeanor. Tori comes up with a plan. He will go to a nearby payphone and call the Creeds, demanding that they meet him and bring money in exchange for information about Chris. Meanwhile, Beau will break in and take the diary. The plan backfires, and all three are brought to police headquarters. Beau confesses to the phone call despite his innocence. At the Adams home, Tori's mother tells Tori and Ollie the story of Digger Haynes and his father Bob. Digger ran away from home following personal tragedy, and Bob vanished after years of unpleasant rumors. Tori's mother hands Ollie a notebook that Beau claimed was Ollie's, but it turns out to actually be Chrissy's diary. The diary talks about Chrissy's relationship with a shy girl called Isabella and states that one of them would die in the woods. At school the next day, Tori becomes further distanced from his friends when they question him about Beau Richardson. He successfully avoids his friends but leaves feigning sick during the school day. Leandra calls Tori, and when Ollie picks up the phone, she accuses him of sleeping with Ollie. Tori and Ollie go to meet Beau, who tells them a story of how he got the diary. Later, Tori finds Isabella in the telephone book, calls her, and leaves a message saying that he is looking for Chris and wants any information she has. During lunch the next day, the police and Mrs. Creed burst into the school cafeteria to take Beau for questioning. Ollie and Tori protest, both confess to the phone call. A few days later, when Tori returns home from school, he finds a message from Isabella on his answering machine telling him to come over anytime to talk about Chris. Ollie and Tori then take a trip to Isabella's house and find out that she did not have a relationship with him, but did have sex with him. Ollie and Tori discover that Chris imagined the whole relationship and wrote down the false information in his diary. Isabella also has Tori and Ollie meet her psychic aunt Vera, who proceeds to warn Tori that when he is alone he will find him in the woods. Upon returning to the Adams home, Ollie and Tori decide to go to the woods to see if they can find Chrissy's body. Tori turns to return home. He sees and follows what seems to be an Indian ghost. After meditating on events and coming to the belief that Chris would not have endured everything he had only to commit suicide, Tori falls into a subterranean Indian burial ground, breaking his leg when a boulder falls on it. When he gets closer, he finds a dead body that he believes to belong to Chris, but is traumatized when the corpse undergoes rapid. Tori is sent to a mental hospital to recover, but has lost all desire to associate with the people of Steepleton and their incessant gossip. He finishes his junior year of high school at home. The epilogue of the story returns to Roughbourne at the end of the school year. Tori finishes the school year reviewing his written epilogue to the events of Steepleton and the responses he's received from people he's reached out to as possible aliases of Christopher Creed. He remains convinced that Chris is alive and that someday he will find him and tell the story of what happened. Characters: Victor Tori Adams, a senior at the fictional Roughbourne, a boarding school, is the narrator of the novel. What begins as a mild interest in Chrissy's disappearance turns into a desire to help solve the mystery of Chrissy's disappearance. Tori is conflicted throughout the book between his friends and those who want to help find Chris. At the beginning of the novel, Tori is described as your basic guy and wears his hair in a ponytail. Bo Richardson, a tough rebel from the boondocks of Steepleton, has a good guy streak that is just as wide, probably wider, than his bad guy streak. He has a mean exterior but cares deeply for his girlfriend Ollie McDermott. Bo eventually takes a liking to Tori despite their differences throughout the story. Bo is infuriated with Mrs. Creed for accusing him of the murder of her son and is determined to prove his innocence. This could be his reason in the novel for investigating Chrissy's disappearance. Christopher "Chris" Creed, the weird guy from Steepleton, vanishes after sending an email to Glenn Ames, the principal, hinting at running away or suicide. Isabella Carsden, a laid-back waitress with whom Chris had an imaginary relationship. She admits to helping Chris lose his virginity, but makes it clear when introduced in the novel that she did not have a relationship with him. Sylvia Creed, Chris Creed's mother, who accuses Bo Richardson of murdering her son. Alex Arrington is Tori Adams' best friend and is Renee Bowen's boyfriend. He plays football and is in a band with Tori. Also, he is revealed to be very smart and tech-savvy, having hacked into school files and discovering the email Christopher Creed sent to the principal before his disappearance. During the novel, he begins to believe that Chris is dead and says to Tori that you and Bo shot him in the woods. This is the cause of an argument that causes Alex and Tori's friendship to collapse at the end of the novel. Leandra, a cute cheerleader with long reddish hair who, at the beginning of the novel, is Tori Adams' girlfriend. She goes to the Pentecostal church every Sunday, but by Monday she is calling people dirtbag and turbo slut. Actions like this cause Tori to question their relationship. Later in the novel, she and Tori break up because of his involvement with the Christopher Creed case and his newfound friendship with Ollie McDermott. Chief Officer Bowen, the chief of the Steepleton police force, and Renee Bowen's father. He initially comes off as a bully to Bo Richardson, Tori, and Ollie. Allegedly hit Bo in the interrogation room, causing him to resign from his job. It is revealed by Bo that he has been having an affair with Mrs. McDermott, much to Renee's horror. Dr. Foddy, the appointed psychiatrist that is hired to help Tori Adams after seeing Bob Haynes' body quickly decompose. He urged Tori to write his story and try to find Chris Creed. Mrs. McDermott, a mother to Ollie and Greg McDermott, who had relationships with many men including the chief of police, which caused her divorce. Leo, a senior who goes to school with Tori and doesn't care about privacy or personal space. He is just a little sideways as described by Tori. Cartwright, a senior prankster who is Tori Adams' roommate at the fictional school Rothborn. He only knows bits and pieces of Tori's story about Chris. Mr. Creed, father of Chise Creed and husband of Mrs. Creed. Bob Haynes, father of Digger Haynes, who had always wanted Digger to go into the Marine Corps. After Digger was unable to join, his life went downhill and later he shot himself in a Lenape burial cave, to be found by Tori Adams. Digger Haynes, son of Bob Haynes, who lost his leg from the knee down in a motorcycle accident. He left Steepleton and became a lawyer. Glenn Ames, the principal of Steepleton's High School and a friend of Digger Haynes. He was the recipient of Chrissy's goodbye email. Ollie McDermott, a cute cheerleader who is labeled as a slut but is actually a loyal friend, and is said to be the cause of the breakup between Tori and Leandra. She is also the girlfriend of Bo Richardson. She also helped in the case of Christopher Creed. Renee Bowen, Alex Arrington's girlfriend, also the police chief daughter. She is a very mean girl who always accused Bo of Christopher's disappearance and said her dad will throw him in jail. Renee and Tori have never seen eye to eye, as Renee is best friends with Leandra and calls him Victor occasionally when speaking to him, which annoys him. However, Tori usually responds to her comments with a sarcastic remark of his own. She is the first one to turn on Tori after finding out that he has been associating with Bo and Ollie. Major themes. The body of Christopher Creed reveals the issues of the questionable nature of reality and the need to be taken seriously. Characters undergo several situations in which what they say is set aside instead of being addressed. In the novel, Tori says that every person in Steepleton has their own version of reality that has nothing to do with what's true or what's not true. Following that, his mother screams at him to remain calm instead of addressing what point Tori rose. Similar situations occur throughout the novel where the children try to address a point and the adults push it aside to avoid the reality of their once safe world, as Tori explains. Critics have also noted that the body of Christopher Creed addresses the issue of the need to blame others when tragedy strikes. A Chris Creed book review states that the novel has an interesting perspective about how cruel they can be to one another. When tragedy strikes, the townspeople of Steepleton look to others to blame instead of themselves. For instance, Mrs. Creed is quick to jump to a conclusion that Bo either murdered or is holding Chris after Bo is taken into custody. Although there was no hard evidence against Bo, she still jumps to the conclusion that he was the one responsible for her son. Evidence throughout the novel proves that the townspeople of Steepleton would rather cover up their problems by blaming others within their community.